How do I even clap in this? Hi, welcome back. I don't know if you're new to my channel, but the new sensation in the world of books and TV adaptation, Hiii Rivalry, took me by surprise. And by surprise, I mean like a fucking tsunami to the face. I read the whole series. This is a hockey romance series that talks a little bit more about these two rival genius hockey players that enter into a relationship that it's firstly very, very sexual and physical, then it turns very, very romantic, very deep. I read the whole series. There are a lot of characters, and then it got turned into a TV show. It has been a wide success, okay? I bought my newspaper today, and Hiii Rivalry was on the cover of the fucking Italian newspaper. Since the day that I finished that series, I felt like a fever coming up. I was like, I need more. Like more hockey romances, more books about hockey. I don't care if there's a romance. I want just a book about hockey. Fortunately for me, the internet is so full of those. There are so many, so different varieties, and I wanted them to be queer. I don't know what it was, but I tried reading Icebreaker, the straight version. Awful. I tried the queer version, so much better. So I was like, since the start of the year, read 17 books. Almost all of them were hockey romances. And so I wanted to talk about them. The bad, the good, the incredible, and the incredibly ugly. Let's go onto my red shelf. Because I unfortunately, I didn't want to start the year with something that it's not good. So I was like, yeah, let's go on the internet. Let's go on TikTok. Let's see what the most recommended hockey romance, queer hockey romance is there. And so a lot of people were like, you have to read Eden Finlay's books. I think it's a four-handed book. We call them like that in Italy. So it's written by two people. And I read Power Plays and Straight A's. So bland. This is a nerd and a hockey player that is still in college, so he's playing like the NCAA route. It's so bland. The fact of the matter is, the nerd, the nerdy student, is so just like the stereotype for the woman in these books. There's virginal, so pure, and so awkward and shy. It's just that it's a man this time. And the other one, the hockey players, changes personality because the author doesn't know how to write a three-dimensional character. So he just changes depending on who is writing it, I believe, because there are two people and what the chapter is. Yeah, so not one that I would recommend. Then, let's go in chronological order. After that, I was like, I need to go back to what I love. Earlier last year, I read Throne of the Ice by Taylor Fitzpatrick. This is one of the best books of last year, just point blank. This is a very, very hard-hitting story. This is not a typical romance. It follows an enforcer, which is a role in hockey in which you basically have to beat up people and take the hard hits. And the protagonist takes one last hit that destroys his career, his life, his romantic life, but also just he takes the last concussion and he gets the tremors. He cannot look at a screen anymore, he cannot read anymore, he cannot cook anymore. And in the meanwhile, he has fallen in love with a rookie in his team, and you follow them throughout their lives. So bittersweet, so hard-hitting. So I was like, I know that Taylor Fitzpatrick can write a fucking book because the writing was exquisite. So I was like, let's read her first novel. So I read You Could Make a Life. I will talk about that book and the many sequels, the many companions later. But You Could Make a Life, it's a lot more kind-hearted as a story, a lot more fluffier. It follows two hockey players, and they're both tied for life because they're both in the same team. And then it's them falling in love, and just hurdle after hurdle, they manage to be together, even if it's hard, even if they get separated. It's a very, very fluffy story. I liked it. I think that the middle got a little bit too fluffy and just like nothing was really truly happening, even though it was cute. So it was fine. Not the best. It was written perfectly. And then I hit another dud. Because why do I trust TikTok with this? I need to trust Tumblr. Tumblr is where it's at. Tumblr and Reddit, those are the dark horses of literature. TikTok has like a 50-50 average on books that hit. I read The Trade Deadline by A.L. Hurd. I don't know, the book wanted me to think about Hiii Rivalry because there's this, I think he's Swedish player. At the beginning of the book, the two protagonists meet and they tumble in bed together when they're juniors, and then they separate and never see each other again until they get drafted together in the same team. And one of them is considered like a genius and the other one is kind of not. One of them doesn't remember the other. So there's a very big conflict, but I get over this in the, I don't know, the silliest way possible. So then the middle of the book, like the 200 pages in the book, because it's almost 500 pages, this book, a nothing burger of nothingness, just like things happen and you're like, yeah, okay. But that's nice, but like, where's the tension? Where's the tension that could have been there all along? Why couldn't you drag this conflict a lot more into their dynamic? And then the ending was pretty adrenalinic and dynamic, but it was too late. I was not interested anymore. In between all of these books that I talked about, I read other books that I'm going to talk about another time, but then I was like, I need to lock in because I know what I like in this moment. So I was like, everybody's screaming at me to read Gravity by Tal Bauer. This is the first time that I've seen a gay man, write these kind of stories. I know that there's a lot of men writing these kind of stories, but like this is my first time actually like acknowledging that Tal Bauer is a man. Good. Oh my god, these people. Okay, Tal Bauer's books are for the romantics, like the people who feel deeply, because these men love each other unconditionally, and when they can't be together, they ache and they yearn, and it's such a profound feeling. It's so deeply rooted into them that it makes their lives miserable. And Gravity, I think it's the perfect combination of having like a genius hockey player that is so closeted and is so aching to come out and find the love of his life, and then he finally meets this person, but they can't actually be together because, you know, incredibly homophobic room to be in hockey is, and it's written very beautifully. Like the writing really shines in the details and in the descriptions, and it's like, oh my god, they just skated onto a frozen lake and it's so beautiful. The ending, I think we were kind of lulling down with the pacing, and the ending hit, and it hit so hard. I really love that book. And then I was like, I don't know if I can get another hit of this because it was so like, I ached so much for these characters. So I was like, I need to do something, like I need to read something silly, something light, and I know that Avon-Gale with their series Scoring Chances, it's a lot like more lighthearted. So Save Up the Game, it's the second book in the Scoring Chances. I liked it a lot, not as much as the first book. I think the first book is my favorite overall. And you follow some of the characters that you already see in the first book, but you follow a goalie called Riley Hunter. He is a very laid-back person. He is very rich and doesn't want to say that to everybody else in the room because it makes the other people uncomfortable, because he has a very like estranged family actually, and then he meets this new hockey player in his team who was a New Yorker, very loud, very exuberant. He what we would call a social justice warrior, because he really cares about homophobic language in the hockey world. He's so nice, and they form a relationship that is very laid back. It's very fun. I think it lacked a little bit of internal tension, their relationship. Avon-Gale writes at a very breakneck pace, and they write very well. So I was still entertained. Oh, okay. I read Iced Out by C.E. Ritchie. See what I mean when I get my recommendations from TikTok? Yeah, I don't know, because the tension between these two, because like they're in college and they fucking hate each other. They're two hockey players, of course. They fucking hate each other. There should be like polar opposites, but they're not. They're just very competitive between each other, and the media kind of like pits them against each other. The tension between them two was so great. So great. And the smarrier scene, the sex scenes were I think they were good. I think it's very hard to write a very good sex scene in general. These were good because the tension was so high and the banter was so fun. But outside of that, there was nothing. I don't think their relationship was truly believable the way that it moved. And they're so bro-y. And everybody else was just like frat boys and pop frat boys. I think this is a very straight queer romance. If you get what I mean. I'm not calling it straight, okay? It feels very enclosed in what heteronormativity is, if that makes sense. So tension between them, good, great, smooth. Everything else, like there was no story, there was no anything else. The hockey was very lackluster to read about. And then, oh my god, this is what I mean. I got this recommendation from Reddit. I read Seasons Change by Kate Neri. This was on the verge of being a 5 stars. I was obsessed with this book. The fact that the two protagonists are called Holly and Benji, which are the names of a very, very famous kids cartoon about soccer or football, whatever you want to call it. It's so fucking funny. But this is a veteran player falls head over heels for a rookie player in the same team. And they have one of the sweetest relationships that I've ever read about in this kind of challenge. I think the veteran player, Ollie, is I don't know, is kind of disillusioned, and Benji takes like happiness out of him. Like it makes it apparent that life is also beautiful. They're on a great team. They're friends. It's great. Life is great. And life is great again when they get together. So I was so close, but then there was a little bit of a lull again in the pacing. And I was like, 50 pages less and it would have been a total 5 star. But it was so good, so good. Then I read the rest of the story by Talbauer. I think this follows the same beat for beat of Gravity. Like, you know already what is going to happen at the end. Again, these men feel so deeply about each other. It's almost too sweet. Like in Gravity, at one point they sing. Please skip the songs. Please skip them. That was the bad part. In this, I think it was a little bit too sweet, like verging on, in Italian we say melassoso, so trickly. I don't know. It was good because Talbauer knows how to write, but God, it was too sweet. And then I read book 3 and book 4 in Discordant Chances by Avon Gale. Power Plays is about, so in the past, Misha Samarin in a game hits Max Ashford way too hard and ends his career. A long time later, they're both coaches, like co-coaches of a barely there team in the ACHL, and they have to again be coaches together after that happened in their past. But there is their problems so early, and the book is so short. Like, don't get me wrong, the relationship between them was so, like, it was interesting, it was nice, but it could have been so much better if the book was longer, if the tension got dragged longer. And I had the same problem with Empty Net, that it's again about goalies. This time I think it's 2 goalies. It's about Isaac and Laurent Sans-Savoie. These are 2 rival goalies and they fucking hate each other for good reasons. He really reminded me of the Foxhole Court because of what happened to Laurent Sans-Savoie that made him such an asshole. He gets traded from the Ravens, which, you mean, the connection is there. Isaac's problem got resolved in the later, like in the last book, Power Play. Not Power Play. Is it Power Play? Yeah, it's Power Play. Oh my God, these are all the same title. And so he had no external conflict. He only had the relationship, and the relationship was sailing well. I liked empty net a little bit more than power play, but they were good, just not great. And then, God damn it, I started another series, this time by Taylor Fitzpatrick. The first book, it's coming in first place. The second one is And Then. And the third one is Between the Teeth. That's the titular. You know, the series is called Between the Teeth. And you follow a character that is so Shane Hollander core. If you want a recommendation for what to read after Hiii Rivalry, this one. You're in the head of David Chapman, who is an autistic man, undiagnosed. He has such a good hockey IQ, and he gets pitted by the media against Jake, another fellow very good hockey player. They are first and second draft picks. Like, the similarities are there, but you're only in David's head. He is so miserable. He is closeted. He cannot communicate with others because he doesn't have any like instruments to do it. He doesn't know why he feels like they're all speaking a different language than him. And he struggles with making friends and making connections. And he enters a relationship with Jake that it's not serving him well because they're both, Jake less, but him more so ever, they're both not in a good place mentally. And you follow them throughout all of their careers. It's incredible. It's incredible. If you want one recommendation from this video, read Throne of the Ice if you're feeling brave, but the Between the Teeth trilogy. I'm finishing book 3 right now. Hi, Editing Alice here. Book 3 completed. It was the best out of all of them. It was almost a 5-star, but we was so there. I'm still thinking about that series a week after. It was good. These people are going to get me gray hairs. I was so stressed. The whole book, like all of the series got me so stressed. I cannot wait for my happy ending because I want it. I want it. And Taylor Fitzpatrick is a very prolific author. A lot of the companion novels for this thing are either posted on our Patreon, so short stories, but she has an entire universe planned in her Tumblr, her socials, but also on AO3. There are a lot of secondary characters who get their stories on her AO3. I'm so happy to have discovered her. So yeah, these were a lot of books. I talked for almost half an hour. I hope you get your recommendations from here. Even when I don't really like the story, maybe there's something that you kind of connect with more than me. And yeah, this video is over. I'm not going to stop doing these videos because this has been a fever, okay? I have some socials. They're down below. Fun time there, especially on TikTok. And I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye! Mwah.